Funnymouth has joined Refer Sales. Funnymouth. Hello everyone tonight. I like to lick the blood out of in the person. I see your handsome face. Don't be sad about it. Come on. Funnymouth has left Refer Sales. Ghost George. Holy fuck. What the fuck? Lemon Lime Skull. Did that just happen? Ghost George. Yes, Skull. Yes, it did. The first thing I should have probably note is that I'm Lemon Lime Skull. In other words, that's my scream name up there. That was the first time I saw or heard from Funnymouth, and for all intents and purposes it should have been the last. Anyone who spent any time chatting away knows that weirdos come and go, folks pop up and ask inane questions, or just a troll or populated channel. What first struck me as odd about the Funnymouth guy, however, was the fact that he came and went with no particular goal. He didn't try to piss anyone off, he didn't ask if anyone on the channel knew how to fix his computer or remove a virus. He just stuck his head in, rattled off some random text, and happily fucked off. Lemon Lime Skull. So, really though, what the hell? Ghost George. Not a clue. Lemon Lime Skull. He's in another channel if you want to find out. Hashtag blood. Ghost George. I do not, sir. Lemon Skull. Bitch. I don't know what the results I expected from the following this guy to another channel. I'm not the type that goes out of his way to annoy or argue with people. I'll usually avoid at all costs. Though once someone starts with me, I don't mind getting into it at that point. I guess what I'm saying is that I have no idea why I pursued this. Lemon Lime Skull has entered hashtag blood. Hey, he was just sitting there in the channel by himself. He made a odd emoticon, it seemed. It was a large O with a bracket, underscore, another bracket in the opposite direction, and another O, like two eyes, staring at me. Lemon Lime Skull. So you're staring at me. That's rude. Funnymouth. Sorry, I just do it. It's okay. Lemon Lime Skull. I see. I actually chuckled out loud at this point. He was weird and inoffensive. Lemon Lime Skull. You can come back to Refer Sales if you want. We're not going to boot you out if that's what you're worried about. Or not. Whatever, man. You just seem interested and I'm bored tonight. Funnymouth. I am bored tonight too. I always don't. Lemon Lime Skull. You always don't what? Funnymouth. I always don't, that's it. I always don't because they don't, and then I get silly. Lemon Lime Skull. Okay, well, see you around. And with that I left. The act got pretty old fast. I felt either this was someone trying too hard or a legitimate moron who was unaware of how to properly use a chat program. Sitting idly by yourself and popping into other channels for a split second seemed like a desperate bid for attention. I might have done that and laughed my ass off around in the 90s, but yeah, stupid. Ghost George. Lemon Lime Skull. Nothing, I seriously didn't know what you were saying. Ghost George. Ha, welcome to the internet. Lemon Lime Skull. What's sad is that besides you and me, the guys are the only active user here all night. Lemon Lime Skull kicks Killjoy and shouts, "Wake up!" Blah. Silence dominated the channel for about half an hour as I minimized the window and went about my business. Lemon Lime Skull. Anyone on? Nothing. 8 users in the channel, not a single one active. Lemon Lime Skull. Boring. Why are you people so boring? Then Funnymouth and that staring face again. Lemon Lime Skull. Wake up! Lemon Lime Skull puts everyone's hand in a bowl of warm water. It took me a few seconds to see it. It was Funnymouth again, just staring. That weird emoticon again. I physically slumped my shoulders with a "not this shit again" sigh. Then I noticed he wasn't in the channel. Lemon Lime Skull. Question mark. Anyone else see him? Of course not, because you're all idle. Obviously it was a glitch that either my client or the server The message was kicked up from earlier in the night, at random. These things happen. Still, it creeped the hell out of me. After a few minutes of sitting here with a really cold, creepy feeling in my stomach that I shouldn't have done something feeling, I decided to stop trying to brave it out and just close the entire chat program. Sure, I could have just hung out like everything was fine, but why bother trying to prove that I wasn't spooked? Hell, nobody was even around to see me slink away. After a few more hours of screwing around on the web, I went to bed around 2:40 a.m. One thing I've always prided myself is that I do not have nightmares, at least not regularly. Usually if there are monsters or ghosts or nuclear wars in my dream, I get control of it and I have a great time. I'm shooting zombies in the face, outright telling ghosts that they're not real while I laugh at them. And then there's some disaster. I always know how to get to the safe spot with all the other MFO fries. I've had maybe actual four nightmares in the past 10 years. And yes, I'm completely serious. The first nightmare of my adult life was in 2005. I'd just broken off a relationship with someone who had been with someone else for about a year behind my back. That night, when I finally did get some sleep, I dreamt she was strapped down on a medical table while some sort of unseen, inexplicable creature sucked her brain out through an organic machine. The brain screamed ceaselessly. The second nightmare had me visiting a medical facility where they were experimenting on new methods of saving lives. There was a fantastic tour of this high-tech facility. Lots of wonders of modern science, people in lab coats, etc. Then I was led to a room where 3 car crash victims had been saved using their techniques. This included a slowly rocking young girl whose face had been completely dissented and hung around her chest, and a woman who was nothing but a cluster of twitching, severing limbs, all held together by a drawn-out, kite-like span of flesh. The third came soon after the second. It was accosted by 2 people, one who wanted to assault me to no end, and the other who just kept trying to pinch and tweak me in absurdly ineffective ways. Thinking I could control this dream like the others, I set the 2 men against each other, thinking it would be some sort of poetic justice. Instead, the pincher became increasingly violent as he was pulling the other's cheeks, grabbing his tongue with his fist and furiously pulling it until it came out. Then he pulled the fellow's eyelids until they descended into some sort of grotesque prolapse. I suppose what I'm getting at is even if I did have nightmares, I was never the actual target of any sort of horror. It's always been an empathetic horror related to someone getting brutalized. This night, however, was different. As soon as I fell asleep, I started dreaming. Well, basically it was a reoccurring dream I have where I'm in the woods, just checking out animals, birds, and generally acting chill. I lie in the grass, look up at the sky. It's always a dream I welcome, because even if I had a shit day, I wake up happy and ready to start over. This time the script changed. I laid in the grass, but while I was staring at the sky, I felt something odd. It was a cold, squirming feeling on my neck. In the dream, I reached to my neck and pulled away a long, writhing earthworm. Earthworms disgust me. If I see one in the yard, I'll specifically get a shovel and heap of dirt over it so I don't accidentally see it again. Disgusted, but no more or less content. I flung the worm aside and continued with my dream. Then that feeling again, that clammy, wet wiggling against the side of my neck. I pulled another worm away. Again it happened. The third time, the feeling of confusion and dread had become so overwhelming that I immediately snapped out of myself of the dream. That's usually what happens when shit gets real in my dreams. Game over. I figured it out though, at least I thought I had. In the waking world, I felt my neck discovered a slick, slimy film on my skin. Logic dictated that I must have been drooling in my sleep. Nothing to be proud of, but not exactly terrifying either. My dream must have translated the icky feelings to some sort of appropriate creature in the forest dream. Perhaps more unsettling, though, was the fact that the bed around me had seemed indentaceous. 4, to be exact. It was almost as if someone on hands and knees had been hovering over me as I slept. There was a number of reasons that could have happened, but from then on that night I slept very lightly. Any little thing, like the sound of a ceiling fan, would just wake me up straight away. I had no interest in going back into the woods that night, but when morning came around, I got ready to take off. Get out of the house, shake the cobwebs out. I only planned to check my email real quick to make sure I didn't have any pending transactions or questions I had to answer. Surprise. From Funnymouth@blood.com. Saturday, November 2012 at 2:42 a.m. to Charles Watts. I had a good time to talk to you, and it can be fun again. You'll see what I don't like. Stop it. Smiley face. As you probably recall, I hadn't given this asshat my email address. However, logical answer, someone else on the channel must have. He obviously came back to refer sales, asked someone who I was, and that douchebag completely betrayed me, knowing I don't give out my own personal contact information. Although, the email was dated 2:40. That was pretty much the moment I went to bed, when everyone on the channel was still idle. Even though I well and truly knew I was taking some sort of bait, I responded. Yeah, bro, not exactly I want you emailing me. It was clear, to the point. There was no mistaking the message I was sending, and it was snippy. I wasn't goading him into replying, but by starting a flame war, but of course. Come on, don't be sad about it. I know you like it. We will have a lot of fun a lot of the time. It's okay even. And with that, I blocked his address. I mean, really, I should have done that in the first place, but I still had some sort of sick interest in exactly where this was going. Maybe if I put my foot down, he would admit that he was just screwing around and call me a humorless wet blanket. When I saw it, it was just the same old bullshit, and then gave me the green light to go ahead and shut the guy out. What it's worth, you can relax at this point. The blocking stuck. There was no follow-up message circumventing the ban. After a few minutes, I assured myself that it was all over, and I went about my day. It wasn't until I got home at the dusk that I felt a cold, squirming feeling in my stomach again. I had no idea why. Well, that's not entirely true. I had some idea. I checked my email. Nothing from Funnymouth, however, there was an email from George. Hey, refer sales is fucked up. I can't get any shit to load. When you're online, please take a look ASAP. Peace and carrots, George. I let out a string of curses. Downtime meant lost sales, and I have been out all day with no way for George to contact me. If I'd been a little less strict with my personal information, he could have just called me. I loaded the site and waited for some sort of error screen. Instead, it began to reroute to another page. Blood.com. Yeah, I see it. It's redirecting to a website with a giant pixelated face with a messed up tongue. I think it has to be that Funnymouth POS. Did you give me my email with the domain in it? It's a full page, not a redirect. I want to know what you're smoking. All I can get is blood.com is a coming soon notice. I didn't give anyone shit. George. Haha, funny. Then George emailed me a screenshot of the site giving the 404 error, along with a coming soon notice for blood.com. He could have easily faked them, but why? If this was some sort of joke, it was pretty abstract, and I certainly didn't get it. When I looked at the website files, everything was normal, nothing out of place, and nobody even logged in to change anything. I checked the domain's name servers. The thing that routes a domain where it's supposed to go, nothing was out of sorts. Still, there was this bloated, tongue-wagging face looking at me with its empty eye sockets. Then I don't know how much I missed it in the first place. Looking closely, the picture of the face wasn't really pixelated. It was made of tiny letters, HTML code colouring each letter specific to the image. Over and over again, that word made up the image was right in front of me. Funnymouth, 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 and a great cluster of nonsense. I felt like splitting the screen. I unblocked his email and set about writing an incredibly profane and threatening letter. I didn't really care if I got to the site back at this point. I just wanted to get everything off my chest so I could feel like I was in control of the situation again. Before I could finish the letter, I just got this weird, creepy feeling again. That, no, it couldn't be feeling where you know you're being absurd, but at the same time you know you're right. I stopped hacking out my death threats and checked the inbox. Funnymouth. I see your handsome face. Hello, buddy. Come on. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. I don't want to not. I don't think about it, please, though. I see your handsome face. Not only was that feeling correct, that feeling that he'd already emailed me the minute I blocked him, but it seemed he'd been steadily emailing me non-stop since I blocked him. 10 more letters arrived just within the time span when it took me to reply. Fucking stop! I was getting a stress headache. My heart was pounding, not from fear, but rage. This was probably the most absurdly infuriating person on the internet, and that's saying a lot. Thankfully, the string of letters did indeed stop. I tried to calm myself down, breathing deeply, but it did not seem to take. I was incredibly pissed. Slowly, methodically, I sent him another note. Hi. I don't understand what you are saying. I do not understand what you want. I think there may be a language barrier. Is your first language English? I think you've done something to my website, and I would like you to undo it. If you're mad at me, I did not intend for this to happen. You must have misunderstood what I said or what I meant. Please, change my website back, and let's both go our separate ways. Thank you. I waited. I thought about how I conquered my anger, and that this measured response was really the best way to go about it. This fellow would understand what I meant. He'd realize the mistake he made. Then I calmed down. Everything was going to be okay. Then that fucking staring emoticon. I hit the roof. I hit the goddamn roof and went clear through it. I smacked the monitor with my palm, knocking it clear off the desk. That pissed me off even more as I drove my fist into the keyboard repeatedly as the keys flew free. I screamed out a mixture of frustration with myself and rage over the situation. I stormed out of the room, knocking down anything and everything I could get my hands on. For as long as I could manage the energy, I laid waste to my own shit. I would have started a fire and burned the fucking place down if I had a lighter on my hand. And that night, I stared at the ceiling for what felt like an eternity. Sleep came. Waiting for sleep, I knew I was going to have a nightmare. I just knew it. I knew how my luck was going. Imagine how surprised I was, even in sleep, when instead of some horrific setting, I was someplace safe. The woods. I laid in the grass, felt the relaxation. I knew, even my subconscious knew, that everything would be okay. No matter what setbacks threw at me, the world would go on. Nothing was permanent. Everything was in transition. Nobody could really get to me. I felt squirming on my neck. Nope, no dice. Nothing can spoil this now. I just ignored the worm. It would go away. But I felt the squirming move to my mouth. Now I couldn't find the will to wake myself. Every other time I'd been able to decide to wake up, but it seemed like this opportunity had now passed. Then it wasn't a worm, it was a finger. Then another. Then more. Until 4 slimy, squirming digits were locked around my teeth, clutching at my lower jaw. It didn't hurt when it happened. It was just sort of like a pop. More pressure than pain. It was quick, and before I knew what was going on, it was over. Then I managed to force myself awake. I sat up. I got to my feet in the complete darkness. Feeling the way around the walls, I made my way to the bathroom. I found the light switch. I flicked it on. I stood before the mirror, rubbing my eyes as the harsh light blinded me. I stared into the mirror for minutes. No reaction, no feelings, no thoughts. Then I smiled. I smiled as best as I could. Now that my jaw was completely broken, hanging loose from my neck, my tongue lolled out listlessly like a paralyzed gooey slug. My teeth weren't rooted in anything but threads of flesh, and I could pull them out by hand with the same discomfort as a needle prick. I laughed, the halting sound coming out like a gurgle of backed up sewer drain. What a handsome face! What a funny mouth! 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 Lime Skull has joined Refer Sales. I see your handsome face. Don't be sad about it. Ghost George. Hey, where the fuck were you? Hello? Charles? Lemon Lime Skull is now known as Funnymouth. Funnymouth has left. Refer Sales.